investors in multifamily. So we recently joined World Genius, and it's an amazing program. It's amazing. Every day we are eating, dreaming, sleeping, everything. So it's amazing. It's an incredible program. It's very rich, and yeah, we are here, and every day we were learning something from Well Genius. And when we saw this ad, why not? It's so rare to be here with you. So we're taking. Well, let's give these guys a big round of applause. Woo! So the people that have just joined us, a lot of people are joining us here. We're doing a hybrid event. We are right now in our offices. And to give you some context, there's people here in the room and they're just introducing themselves. We're going to go to the next one.
Hi, I'm Mary, and I have been sort of trying to figure out what I want to do with basically real estate. I'm really excited. I guess so far I've been sort of leaning towards basically like wholesaling, but I'm not sure if it's the right way yet. So just sort of exploring, and I'm just happy to be here and sort of see how I want to move more toward the multifamily. That's where I feel much more.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, give her a big round of applause. Woo! Go over here.
My name is Mamadou Diallo. First time coming here, I'm trying to explore new opportunities, a special type of financing and land development.
Okay, nice, nice, nice. Give a big round of applause.
Hi, my name is Edna. Also, my first time here, and I'm really excited to get to learn about all the different ways I can potentially invest in different areas.
Okay. Woo!
My name is Franklin. That's my wife, Edna. And we're not members of the club yet.
Mhm.
I do know some people who are members, and yeah, I've heard some very good things about the club. And I saw the ad, and I was like, oh yeah, sure. Let's like to come learn more about.
Come hang out.
it.
Yeah, yeah. Why not? Why
Real
not?
estate stuff.
Big round of applause. Woo! Over here.
My name is Lily, and the other half of Boardroom Equities.
Better half.
We never do anything apart, so we're always together. So that's why I'm here.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Talia. I'm the offspring. Yeah, I'm here as well. We work as a family, and I'm just here to learn all the time. So, yeah.
So we are live in many places here. We are on Zoom. We got lots of people on Zoom. Welcome everybody that's joining us on Zoom. We are live on YouTube. So if you are joining us on YouTube, you can come and just join the Zoom. Zoomwithalfonso.com. www.zoomwithalfonso.com is the link that you're already here.
Yes.
But for the people that are watching on YouTube live, and we'll just confirm to make sure that. But you can, as the live is going, you can actually write on the side as people come in and whatnot. So you'll be able to write on the side for people to join us. People are joining us on our multifamily network group with 27,000 people. And if you're joining us there, you can come directly to www.zoomwithalfonso.com. Zoomwithalfonso.com. If you join us on Zoom, you'll probably get a better view of the PowerPoint. But we're excited here because we wanted to do this intimate event, even though we're going to multiple different platforms. But in this room is going to be a little bit more intimate. We have the family here. You have my wife, my daughter, and this is where our offices are. In fact, at the beginning of May, we had one of the biggest events in Canada right here in this building.
Yeah.
We are currently in the Chateau Laurier, and oh my goodness, more people coming in. We're currently in the Chateau Laurier, and we were, we got lucky, right? Because we live next door. We live next door, and so we're very close by. And all of the strategies that we're going to be talking about are strategies that we have been able to implement
close by. So I started here in Ottawa. I am from Ottawa. And even though we invest across the country and into the US, we are from here. We live here. My daughter was born here. I met my wife here. My wife is from Saskatoon. And we've made our life here and we invest here. And a lot of the opportunities that we're going to talk about are things that are happening within this region, Eastern Ontario. Oh, you want to put it there?
I think it makes it better. Oh, maybe not.
How does it look?
It just
How do we look?
You look all right. Wow.
So a lot of the opportunities that we have are ones in Eastern Ontario. We'll talk about Southern Ontario. We'll talk about properties that we've been able to acquire at the east of Canada, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and then west. So if you guys are joining me from west, it looks like there's quite a few people here. People are going to be joining us from Vancouver, Alberta. In fact, we have a very special event coming up in Calgary. So this is very local. This is not someone from the US coming to teach you how to invest in real estate. This is someone that has invested right here, right in our backyards. And so welcome to the virtual masterclass and virtual boardroom masterclass. And you're not going to just hear from me today. You will also be hearing from my wife, and this is not working. Huh? Maybe go like this. No, is this? Yes. Put your hands together for Helene. Woo! And you're going to be hearing from her. So we this is a family business. We have properties all across Canada and in the US, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of units, multi-million-dollar portfolio, and my wife oversees the entire portfolio. So one thing that's exciting is buying the property, putting it under contract, negotiations, finding the money, and then you close it. Now what? Now you're gonna manage it, okay?
Yeah.
So she's gonna come and give you her perspective on property management. I mean, she has not only gone to school for property management, but she oversees the entire portfolio. At one point in time, we said, okay, you manage the properties, and I'll go and find them. And so that's the teamwork that we have. And more people have joined us here on Zoom. So, and if you haven't already, I would say to follow the podcast. So I come from live television. I was on live television for about 8 years. We had two shows, Success by Design show and Ottawa Experts. And podcasting gives me the ability, we can go long form, short form. I have the ability to ask questions. I don't have to have a network behind me telling me what to do. And we are giving away a retreat for one lucky follower. So if you haven't followed the podcast, I'm going to give you you got to go use the QR codes if you want an opportunity to win a free retreat. Yes, take out your phones. This is the time to take out your phones. And for people at home, make sure you scan it, take a screenshot. What we're gonna do is we're gonna choose one lucky follower, and they're gonna win a free retreat, ultimate mastermind retreat. The next one is in Croatia. Now I'll give you a little trick. If you wanna have multiple entries into our contest, you have to follow us on multiple platforms. And so Spotify, Apple, Amazon has podcasts now, um, iPhone, YouTube, and so forth. All right, so I see a lot of people pouring into the Zoom here. Welcome guys to our hybrid event. Not only is it hybrid, we got people on YouTube, we got people on Facebook, we got people on, where's that?
No, I'm
Just a recording. This is just being recorded. And we have people in the room here live in person. It's a ultimate hybrid event. How's it going there, Tal?
We're going good.
Good.
We're going-
All right. So this is what the evening is going to look like. We're gonna go through why real estate and why right now is the best time in history to get involved with real estate. We're gonna go through property management. So Helena's gonna come up here and talk about property management, and then I'm gonna come back and spend the rest of the time with you guys, teaching you how to scale your real estate business, how to fund your deals. And if anything here resonates with anybody in this room or anybody in any other platforms, we do have 3 boot camps coming up, and these 3 boot camps kind of hit multiple areas, including virtually. So one that I want you guys to take note: July 10, 11, 12. July 10, 11, 12. And it's basically a real estate investor accelerator where we level up not only your real estate IQ, but we get into some of the subject matters that we love, like multifamily, land development, US investing, and raising capital. Now, if you're not in Ottawa, if you're joining us on YouTube, by the way, if you're joining us on YouTube, come and join us on Zoom, www.zoomwithalfonso.com. If you want to stay on YouTube, that's fine. We have 3 other options, so you guys can take these dates down. So Ottawa, July 10th to 12th, virtually 7, 8, 9. So if you are anywhere across North America or the world, you can join us virtually, 7, 8, 9. And we are going to be in Mississauga, August 14, 15, 16. So those are your options. July 10th, 11th, 12th, virtually August 7th to 9th. And we're going to be in Mississauga, August 14th to the 16th. Now, it's funny that Talia is here, because Talia is the producer of The Godfather's Offer. Give her a big round of applause. And she vets all of the contestants. And so basically what we wanted to do is we wanted to grow the community on our YouTube channel. And so what we decided to do is create it's a reality show, but with real money. And so basically you bring your deals, you pitch your deals, and every episode I choose one person out of the 3 contestants, and I will fund their deal. And so this is the gateway. You want to come into the show, you got to talk to Talia. And you also, the first thing that we check, are you following the channel? So if you're not following the channel,
You're already out.
then you're already out. So you want to make sure you're following the channel. This is how you can subscribe. Okay, so the QR code is on the screen there. Take a screenshot, do whatever you got to do, and subscribe. We will release all the information on the YouTube channel. If you're on YouTube right now, if you're subscribed to us right now, thank you for subscribing. But we just filmed the Ottawa episode. We're going to come back to Ottawa a few times, but we're going to multiple different cities across Canada and the US. But what do you think about the Ottawa episode?
The Ottawa episode is, I feel like anything we do here in Ottawa is always the best. Yeah, maybe we're just biased. That was good. It was really good. It was really good.
So here's the opportunity. Make sure you subscribe. I'll let you subscribe.
It's going.
Make sure you hit the bell to get notified every time we do a video. And so what's going to happen is when we release all the information, you will have the opportunity to apply. All right, my friends, here we are. We are going through an economic downturn, and the name of the game is learning how to profit from any market. And that's what we're going to talk about in the next couple of hours. Not only that, when you come back for those 3 days, those 3 intensive days that we're going to work together, we're going to be talking about how to profit from any market. And we're going to turn you into real estate superstars. How many people here want to be a real estate superstar? Yeah. So we probably heard this from the government. We've entered a technical recession, which means that they technically now can tell you the truth. And the economy Obviously when you have zero growth for multiple quarters in a row, this is called a technical recession. Now, all I knew is about recessions, right? But when someone hears the word recession, they tend to start to panic, and this is the opportunity. So Warren Buffett said, when people are greedy, you should be fearful. And when people are fearful, you should be greedy. What most people don't know is that many of the companies that you use on a daily basis have been companies that have started during economic downturns. During economic downturns, this is where problems rise to the top. As human beings, we become extremely innovative, and we solve problems. We start thinking outside the box, and this is where everything happens. All the opportunities happen during economic downturns. I started my first company in 1995 during an economic downturn, during a recession. In 1995, people said, "You can't start a business. There's a recession." And I always told people, "Thank God I didn't know the meaning of the word. It might have stopped me, right?" And so the key to success, if you guys want to be successful, I want you to write this down. And for the people at home watching this on Zoom or on YouTube, grab a piece of paper because you're going to be taking a lot of notes, but I want you to write this down. You have to be willing to do the things today that other people are not willing to do today, so you can live the kind of life that other people wish they had tomorrow. I'm going to repeat it. You have to be willing to do the things today that other people are not willing to do today, so you can live the kind of life that other people wish they had tomorrow. And tomorrow, people will look at you and say, "You're so lucky. You're so lucky." And so, what does it take? It takes taking action despite the rhetoric, despite the market sentiment, despite what other people are saying, despite how uncomfortable or how inconvenient it is for you. If you want to be successful, you have to be willing to take action while other people are not taking action. Because most people are taught to take action when everybody else is taking action. Most people are taught to chase a market, not to profit within any market. And so if you engage with any of these companies, thousands and thousands of companies have started during economic downturns, recessions, depressions. And so this is the opportunity that is in front of us right now. And so right now is your day one, and you have an entire journey in front of you. If we were in 2021, 2022, where everybody and their grandmother was a real estate investor, I would say, well, you know what? There's still opportunities because I can teach you how to make money in any market, but you want to be careful because we're gonna hit some bumps. And so those bumps are guaranteed. But when you are in a slump, it's a market cycle. And so Canadians right now, they're thinking it's too risky. So a lot of people are sitting on the sidelines, waiting for interest rates to go down, waiting for uh, housing prices to drop. And what's happening is that these market cycles, because you really can't time the market. It's all about time in the market. So we all understand these are market cycles, right? So you have your expansion, you have your stabilization, you have your decline, and your recovery. And these cycles are happening all the time. I mean, that's this part of the economy. That's how it works. And so there's certain things. So these cycles are happening naturally, and then you have influencers. Okay, so back in 2008, this was this was the global economic um, crash, right? So in real estate crashed in the US. In Canada, we had more of a correction. But if you were in multifamily like I was, the money you couldn't find any money. And so what happens is, this was an influencer. How do you stimulate? Well, you print money. Okay. So we have seen, and I can't believe I actually grew up to actually witness this. The the printing of money like it was going out of style, right? This is called, if you're taking notes, I want you to write this down. It's called quantitative easing. Quantitative easing is a fancy term that means they're just going to print, baby, print. And so when you print money, you devalue the money. So we saw massive inflation happen 2009, 2010 as the market started to recover. Obviously, when you inject lots of money, the market recovers. If you were an investor back in 2019, you knew that we were going to go through another cycle. So you were prepared for it. But sometimes you have influencers. So in 2020, what were the influencers in 2020? COVID, right? So COVID was a major influencer that we thought we would go through an economic downturn, but what happened was the market just simply crashed. And so governments of the world, the monetary system, I'm going to encourage you guys to follow the monetary system, get educated on the monetary system. But what ended up happening was here at this point here, they injected the most amount of money that they've ever injected in the history of the monetary system. And so what happens? You have all of this money running after less goods. Everything just goes like this. Okay. And so the market, so you have this alternate universe up there where COVID never happened. And we just went through a natural market cycle. And then we have the universe that we live in right now where COVID did happen and the market just crashed. Here was your opportunity. And a lot of people missed it. They sat on the sidelines. We'll see what happens. They told you to go home for 2 weeks and watch Netflix. They paid you to watch Netflix. Remember that? Right? And so a lot of people just kind of missed that window of opportunity. And it was roughly about six months or so. So my wife and I, we bought about $60 million worth of real estate during that time. And all of it pretty much doubled, if not tripled in price. And so why am I sharing that with you? Because while you wait, because that opportunity is in front of us again. Back in 2020, we were buying real estate in April of 2020. But if you remember, you were like focused on other things. Media had a narrative. You were like fixated on that. And so meanwhile, life gets more expensive. It's actually the money power going down. Your money is not worth the same as it was back in 2020. Your buying power is going down because we're experiencing massive inflation. And so right now, the US is about $38 trillion in debt. Their debt service is roughly about $1 trillion plus, okay, plus per year. They need to make $1 trillion just to service the debt. And Canada is not in any better shape. I mean, we're over $1 trillion in debt. Our debt service is high, and it comes a point where these governments are insolvent. And so insolvency means that you are not generating enough income to pay your expenses. And so what do you think they're going to do? Mary Jennifer.
They're gonna definitely try to print.
They're gonna print more money. Of course. This is the lever that they use, right? And so what's gonna happen to the cost of living, the cost of everything? And does inflation work in the favor of the real estate investor that owns assets? Yes or no? Yes. The answer is yes, because the real estate is your way of hedging against inflation. All right, we got some people here, some new people here. Come on in.
So sorry.
No worries. We got more people. Look, we got people at home. If you are at home right now, you're tapping in through Zoom.
Online and at home. Yeah. And
Yeah, if you're tapping in through Zoom, we are doing a hybrid event. We're right here in Wealth Genius offices. We are we're tuning in live. There's people here in the room. People are just walked into the room, and we also have people joining us on YouTube. We got people on Zoom, and so we have a really exciting event. We're calling it the virtual boardroom, and so welcome everybody that's come through Zoom, and welcome everybody here live and in person in our boardroom. Is this exciting, guys?
Yeah.
You like this?
Yes.
Okay, good. So the thing that we were talking about before is that you cannot beat inflation. You have to hedge against inflation, right? So let's say the monetary system goes belly up. Okay, so the all these governments are trillions of dollars in debt, and the monetary system collapses, and we have hyperinflation. What happens to the debt? Hmm? That's it. It disappears. So do you? It's almost it's almost a benefit to the government to see inflation because that's how they pay off their debt. And so the people that are going to get hurt is the average people that don't have assets. They're not accumulating wealth. They're not accumulating assets, hard assets. You need a place to store your value. So if you're taking notes at home, if you're taking notes in this room, if you're taking notes on YouTube, you need assets to store your value. Now you can go online and go buy some Bitcoin, and you could say, I want to hedge with Bitcoin, but there's volatility, right? You can buy some gold, which I think it's a hard asset, but you buy gold, and what happens? You have to you have to spend money to store that gold. You can buy a single family house, but because of inflation, because of this one one occasion of printing massive money, amounts of money, the price of the house no longer can justify the rent, where it no longer makes sense. Anybody here have any properties? Any properties? What type of properties?
Single family,
Single. Do you live in it or do you rent it?
living.
Okay. Do you have any rentals?
No.
Okay. Well, you even living in a house, you probably would say it's expensive,
Yes,
right?
it's a
Cost and
property taxes.
yeah. So if you don't mind me asking, approximately what would be the value of your house? If you don't mind me asking.
Like a couple months ago, it was valued at 1.5, 1.50. Now it's went down to 900.
Okay, so let's just say it's 900,000,
Yeah.
and you got a mortgage at 900,000. Roughly, what would be your payment? 4 or 5,000? Yeah, let's say it was $5,000 a month. Could you rent your house for 5,000? And so you see, as an investment, it doesn't make sense, right? And so what happens that when people see that, they're like, "Well, I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna see what happens." Meanwhile, while they wait, everything continues to increase because one thing that we can't beat is inflation. We can't beat inflation. And so, what are the alternatives? Well, you got to get into good assets. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, leveling up to multiple units, right? So when you're collecting more rents, more income, you are now generating more money to pay more of the expenses. And then at some point, you'll have cash flow. And so this is what we're going to be talking about today. Now, why is this special? Why are we so excited? And why did we decide to do this boardroom event? We're pretty much in the summer right now, right? Because right now we're living through the best of times. Right now, we're seeing more opportunity than we've ever seen. And I'm excited to help as many people as possible. And so it's called the perfect storm. And if not now, oops, if not now, then when? If not now, when we have the perfect storm at the perfect time with the perfect interest rate, then when? At some point, you'll have to take action. And so Here's what doesn't work. Trying to time the market. You can't time the market. It's all about time in the market. Following headlines. If you're sitting there watching the news, all you're going to see is bad news because the news is set up to create fear. So you come back and watch more news. If you're hoping for prices to drop or you're listening to friends, agents that don't have investments, you're not getting the right guidance. If you feel overwhelmed, it's normal because there's so much contradictory information that sometimes people, when they hear too much information or contradictory information, they don't take action. And so, what's the root cause? The root cause is not the market; it's the fact that people are taught to chase a market. Back in 2021 and 2022, everybody and their grandmother was a real estate investor. Everybody was a real estate genius in 2021. And it's not about chasing a market. It's not about entering a market when it's hot. It's about learning how to profit from any market. And that's the method that we teach a lot of our students. And so if you feel uncertainty, if you feel fear, if you feel stuck, if you feel like you're getting behind financially, you're not alone. But here's the truth, and I want you guys to write this down. The same wind blows on us all. The same economic wind, the same uh, rates, the same. Everybody's operating within the same circumstances, and so when they change the rules, you just got to play within the new rules. Every year they change the rules in the NHL, and professional NHL players show up every single year, every single season, and play within the new rules because they're professionals. And so, if you are truly a real estate investor, you just got to show up and play within the new rules. And that's what we're going to talk about when we come back here to Ottawa. You guys just came in, but we're actually going to come back and do a 3-day intensive boot camp where we're going to get into how to buy larger assets, how to build apartment buildings, how to raise the money to do it. And if you like anything that resonates with you in any of those strategies, well, you can actually apply it to the U.S. as well. It's a 3-day intensive. We have an event coming in just a few weeks, actually 2 weeks, July 10th, 11th, 12th, right here in Ottawa. Not in this room. It's at the Sandman on Hunt Club, right? Now, for the people that are joining us at home, don't worry, you don't have to come all the way to Ottawa. We have other options. We have Mississauga. So if you're in the Mississauga area, August 14, 15, 16. And if you're not in either Ottawa or Mississauga, you can come and join us virtually from anywhere in the world. You don't even have to wear pants. Well, I suggest you wear pants, but you don't have to because we won't know. And I see the people at home too. So I will have information on that coming up very soon. Now, everybody's distracted, but while people are distracted, we're currently living through the greatest wealth transfer in human history. Right now, as we speak, we are living through the greatest wealth transfer in human history. And the media is not even covering it. The media is not even talking about it. It's incredible. It's unbelievable that right now, as we speak, we're living through the greatest wealth transfer in human history. This is the number one thing that should be on CNN, Fox News, all through YouTube, and we don't hear anything of it. But why is the opportunity so great? Why are we going through the greatest wealth transfer in human history?
So inflation, like you said.
Well, inflation is one part of it, but what else?
Maybe.
Yes, yes. Baby boomers are exiting businesses, real estate portfolios, um, life. I mean, it's unfortunately to talk about, but this is like the cycle of life. And baby boomers have dominated every industry from the moment they were born. And now they're all retiring. And because we have not put an emphasis on financial literacy for over 60 years, the next generations are not interested, not everybody, but I would say a big majority of the next generations are not interested in holding on to assets. They're more looking to liquidate. They're waiting for grandma to pass. Well, maybe they're not waiting, sitting there waiting, but when it happens, they're gonna sell. They're gonna sell. They're gonna sell. And that is the opportunity. Now, for the very first time, everybody has an opportunity to be on the right side of this wealth transfer. And that's the number one thing that we should be hearing on the news. But instead, what are we hearing on the news? Hmm? This guy.
Oh,
We call it Trump derangement syndrome. People are literally deranged. And whether you love the guy or you hate the guy, one thing that you cannot deny, you're obsessed with this guy, right? And so no matter what this person is doing, no matter what's happening with Epstein and this and that, none of it is going to put money into your pockets. Would you agree?
yes.
And so what happens is people become distracted. People are losing their ability to rationalize. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
And they become so obsessed with things that are not going to serve them. And so while everybody's distracted, we are currently living through the greatest wealth transfer in human history, and we are currently living through the best of times. And it doesn't seem that way because we have access to information so fast.
Yep.
Like somebody farts at the other side of the world, boom, we know about it, right? If Donald Trump farted, boom, we would know about it. Someone would tweet about it. Instantly, we would have that information. And so people become distracted and I think it's by design to distract the people, right? Distract the people while certain people get wealthy. And so I'm here from a position of service. I'm here to help as many people as possible. That's why we did this special event on Zoom tonight. And this is why we're doing this boardroom. That's why we're on YouTube with potentially thousands of people that are going to be watching us. We got 27,000 people just on the multifamily group that we have here on Facebook. We got people on Zoom and everybody in this room because these are exciting times, and you have to take action. Remember, you have to be willing to do the things that other people are not willing to do today so you can live the kind of life that other people wish they had tomorrow. During economic downturns, during times like this, I've always took action. 1995, started my first business right in the middle of a recession. I got into real estate year 2000 when we had the dot-com bust. People said, no, it's not the right time. In 2008, 2009, we doubled down on real estate. While everybody was running this way, I went this way, and we were able to grow leaps and bounds with our portfolio. In year 2020, I looked at my wife and I said, honey, let's go. We can watch Netflix later. And that's what we did. Well, we watched a little bit of Netflix, but we took massive action. And when people look at our lives now, they're like, "You're so lucky, right? You're so lucky." My wife and I, we take 11 vacations per year, and people say, "You're so lucky. You're so lucky." And I said, "Yeah, we're pretty lucky, right? Why not? You know, we take our family. This is my daughter here. You haven't met my daughter. My daughter, hello, say hello, and." It's we're going to El Salvador at the end of July, right in between these two events. I'm literally doing the event, going to El Salvador, coming back and doing the Mississauga event. But we have created this life for ourselves by design. We took action when it was inconvenient, when it was uncomfortable, and now we reap the rewards. And that's what I wish for everybody. If you took the time to come here today, is because you saw something. You saw an opportunity where while other people were like, "You're not gonna learn about real estate, are you?" Raise your hand if you didn't tell certain people that you were coming here today. If you didn't tell certain people, thank you for your honesty. You didn't want to raise your hand.
Well,
Yeah. Just honesty. But you know what? You know what? People are gonna have their opinions, right?
yeah.
And so you gotta be able to turn off the noise and take action. $124 trillion, 124 trillion dollars in assets is set to change hands in the upcoming years. The question that you have to ask yourself, on which side of this wealth transfer are you going to be on? Because it's happening. 124 trillion, it's happening. And at some point, your grandkids, my great great grandkids, excuse, what was your name?
Edna.
Edna. Your grandkids, your great great grandkids are going to ask you a question. What do you think that question is going to be?
What was I doing during this time?
Is it true? Is it true that you were alive during the greatest wealth transfer in human history? And what are you going to say?
I bought all the assets.
Yeah, you want to be able to say, look, we took action despite the rhetoric, despite what was happening with Trump, Epstein, this, that, the other thing, because none of that is going to serve you. And the decisions that you make today will confirm the way your family will live tomorrow. Would you agree?
100%.
And so my kids live a different type of life because of the decisions that I made a long time ago. And so in my family, there's been a cycle of poverty. And that cycle of poverty stopped with me. But I had to make that conscious effort. I had to take action despite the rhetoric, despite the news, despite all these other things. So a little bit about me. If you don't, if for those of you that are just tuning in here on Zoom, welcome, welcome, welcome. Everybody on YouTube and on Facebook. I've been doing this for a long time. So I started my company back in 1995. I've been in business for over 30 years. And my first business, I took it to a multi-million-dollar valuation. And since then, I've started, exited, sold, created, built multiple multi-million-dollar businesses. And I think that is the unique approach that I bring to the real estate space, is the fact that I've been involved with so many other types of businesses. I've been a real estate investor full time for 26 plus years. My wife and I, we've built a multi-million-dollar portfolio. You have someone calling you, and we built a multi-million-dollar portfolio, and we're doing it because we want to leave a legacy. We want to leave something behind for our kids. We have a blended family. She's got 2 kids. I have 2 girls, and together we have 4 kids, and we want to leave something behind. Um, so we're proud of what we built, and the reason I share that with you guys is not to impress you, but to inspire you. I landed in this country as a refugee. I came from El Salvador, war-torn country, El Salvador. My mom had $30 in her purse. I grew up on social housing. I grew up on welfare. And when I was 13, 14, 15 years old, I ran with the wrong crowd. I got into trouble, dropped out of high school, and ultimately ended up living on the streets. And if someone like me can come from all of that and achieve everything that we're describing here today, that means it's possible for anybody. The things that we're talking about are not strategies that are not within the reach of anybody in this room. If you apply yourself, if you learn, if you educate yourself, anybody in this room could be looking at building a multi-million-dollar portfolio, hedging against inflation, and living the life of their dreams if they choose to. The beauty is it's a choice, right? So when I was 30 years old, I sold my companies, and I had my real estate to back me up, and I realized I didn't have to work another day in my life. And however you think that moment was, it was a little bit depressing for me because I worked so hard to get to that moment to realize that this sucks. Like, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And so 18 plus years ago, I made a decision that I was going to spend the rest of my life helping people achieve financial freedom. And the way I did it was through real estate and business. And that's exactly what I want to show as many people as possible. I am here from a position of service. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you get to the next level. And that's why we have those events. Those 3-day boot camps are really to position you with the IQ that you need to take the business to the next level. And so since then, now it's been 18 plus years. I've trained thousands of students all across North America, and I've created thousands of multimillionaires. And I'm proud about that because I know I've created a lot of time in people's lives. And that's what I'm passionate about. I'm not passionate about helping you buy your next Ferrari or your next super yacht, even though those things are fine. But I want to start with creating time in your life. And so, if you want to stay connected, and everybody that's following, I know some people here on the call. So welcome. But if you are just joining us and you want to stay connected to me, I always share my Instagram handle. And the reason I show this Instagram handle is because there's a lot of fake accounts. So usually what happens is when people hear me speak somewhere, they want to go and follow me online. And I counted just last week 16 fake accounts. So don't trust any other Alfonso Cuadra. This is the only Instagram handle that I have. So I'm gonna encourage you guys to follow me and send me a DM. If you send me a DM and say we met tonight at the virtual or in-person boardroom masterclass, I will follow you back and we'll stay connected. And if you ever need my help or support at any point in time, I will be here. Now, let's talk about those tariffs. Those tariffs remind me, and the way people are feeling right now remind me of March of 2020. You guys remember? Where's the toilet paper? I need. If we were all dying, imagine the one thing that we needed in our lives was toilet paper. If it was a test, we would fail miserably. And so, what happened during that time? People felt like they had no control. People panicked. They were scared. Media took over. People froze. There was a lot of uncertainty. Does it sound familiar? And while everybody was told to go home and watch Netflix, real estate was on sale. We had crazy deals and we couldn't believe it. We were buying real estate like it was going out of style. Now, people said, Alfonso, did you have a crystal ball? How did you know that the opportunity was so great? Well, I don't need a crystal ball. I just need to understand market cycles. And so when you understand market cycles, you understand that as investors, we all wait for this moment. And so when you come back for those 3 days, whether you're joining us on, whether you're going to join us virtually, or you're going to join us in person, whether it's in Ottawa or Mississauga, or you're going to join us virtually. Um, we're going to talk about market cycles because there's multiple different phases, and you have to understand how to profit from every phase. Up here at the very top, where everybody and their grandmother is a real estate investor, where everybody and their grandmother is a real estate genius, is the point of maximum risk. When the market corrects, when you have economic downturns, this is the point of maximum opportunity. And this is what we're living through right now. And so I didn't have an opportunity to do a boardroom event, or I didn't have the opportunity to do events. I had to jump online, and this is kind of why I jumped on. I jumped on YouTube for the first time. I I was uh, I was sharing my experience and everything that I was doing. To this day, my daughter says I don't do YouTube right, but I just go and do. I just work on volume. I just want to. It's like an outlet for me. And during that time, I was I was sharing every step that I was taking when I was buying during COVID. Now, I'd never been on YouTube that much before, and a lot of people were like, "Oh my God, Alfonso, thank you so much." But there's some nasty people out there that when you put yourself out on YouTube, um, the comments can be pretty hurtful, right? So if you're on YouTube right now, make sure you leave some nice comments down below. But here's what some people were saying here. Dude, you should get a real job like the rest of us. And I get it. When people are scared, they lash out. So I just kind of let it, you know, I just kind of let it roll off my is it the how's the expression?
Roll
Let
off
it
my
roll off my back. Yeah. I was gonna say that, but I'm like, it can't. That's not how the expression goes. So I was gonna say let it roll off my shoulder.
Well, because I guess it's like
Roll off.
it's kind of yeah, it just rolls off.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
When people are fearful, they tend to lose their ability to rationalize. I don't think rational people are going to be lashing out on people's comments on their videos. But it's true what Warren Buffett said. Be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful. Is there a lot of fear right now in the world,
Yeah.
in North America, in Canada? And so that is the opportunity. That's good. Because while other people are fearful, this is your opportunity to take action while others are on the sitting on the sidelines. And you couldn't have built a perfect scenario. When I say take action, when other people are not willing to take action, this is what I'm talking about. And so when you come to for those 3 days, whether you're in Ottawa, Mississauga, or anywhere in Canada or the US, we're going to be talking about how to optimize, how to maximize, and how to take take on all the opportunities that are available right now in this market. This is Mike. Mike came to one of our events and he learned everything that we were teaching and he took action. Before this, he thought he would never have the opportunity to own real estate. He thought he was kind of priced out of the market. And at 21 years old, he learned all the strategies that we're teaching at the boot camp, and he took action and he bought his first 4 unit apartment building at 21 years old. His second deal was a 10 unit apartment building. Have we changed the trajectory of this young man's life?
Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so the opportunities now are great because back in 2025, people were kind of waiting for interest rates to continue to come down. They've already indicated that interest rates are not going to come down anymore for the rest of the year, which means this is it. They could even start going back up. And so this is it. This is your opportunity mixed with high inventory. Just a quick snapshot of realtor. I already could see that there is more inventory on the market than there was this time last year. So high inventory, cheap money means big opportunity. This inventory over the next 6 months is going to get absorbed. At some point, there's going to be a scare of whether or not interest rates are going to go up, or maybe they're going to go down even more. And that is going to create a frenzy, and that inventory will get absorbed. And so the opportunity is now. The key to success is in positioning yourself in front of a wave. That wave is here. That wave is here. So your biggest expense isn't your rent, mortgage, or taxes. It's lost opportunities. Your biggest expense is lost opportunities, not taking action when you know you should have taken action. And so different times require different strategies, different types of actions. There was a time that you could have just bought any piece of real estate and you would have been all right. There was a time where you could have bought that single family home and you would have enough rent to pay all of the expenses and still see cash flow. Those days are gone, primarily because this one event, because of inflation, because we've created so much inflation that the price of housing has gone up so much that based on the amount of income you can collect, it no longer makes sense as an investment. And so the thing that you have to learn, the most important thing that you need to learn is that the philosophy that we have as investors is cash flow first. If it doesn't cash flow, if it can't carry itself, we don't consider it to be an investment. Because how scalable is that business if everything is negative? It doesn't make any sense. And so the strategy that we're going to ask you to participate in is in multifamily, multiple units under one roof. For some, this could be new. It could be a new strategy, and maybe you feel a little nervous. But if I told you that this is possible for anybody, in fact, it's actually easier to buy larger properties than it is to buy smaller properties. Most people would say, how can that be? Well, traditionally, they're asking you to buy these single family homes. And the issue with the single family home, it's got too many leaks. You got to pay your taxes, your gas, your electric bill, mortgage, insurance, repairs and maintenance, lawn and snow, property management, vacancies, water bill. I can go on and on and on with all of the expenses that you have to pay for in a house. Am I right?
100%.
Right? So we just talked about your mortgage, $5,000 a month. We didn't talk about all of this, right? And so the biggest issue is that you only if you buy this house, first of all, if you buy this house for yourself, is a massive liability because you're the one that has to pay for all these expenses. But you could say, well, I'm going to get smart here. I'm going to buy a house to rent. Well, you rent this single family house, and I'm talking about singles, townhomes, condos. You only have one source of income, one tenant means that you only have one income. So if you're taking notes, I want you to write this down. More customers is better than less customers. Would you agree?
Yeah.
It's business 101, right? More customers better than less customers. And so, when you're doing this, you're violating all the rules of business because you only have one customer, one client, one tenant paying you rent. There's no way you can service all of these expenses and make this investment make sense. Especially now, where we are. So what you need to do is you got to level up to multiple units, more tenants. More tenants means that you have more customers paying you more money, which means that you have the ability to service all of these expenses and still service the debt and still cash flow. Now, the idea makes sense, right? The idea makes sense. Why doesn't everybody do it? Well, most people are misinformed. A lot of people in the industry think that they can barely afford a house. How in the world are they going to be able to afford a multifamily building? Not knowing that financing for a multifamily is actually easier than it is for that single family house. For a single family house, the way that you qualify for a single family house is based on your debt to income ratio. How much money you have coming in versus how much debt you have. It's all about you, it's all about the individual. So the real differences here is the financing. For smaller properties, singles, duplexes, townhomes, condos, triplexes, they use the debt to income ratio. That is a residential mortgage. For multifamily, so multiple units under one roof, an apartment building, the way that you qualify for an apartment building is based on the DCR, the debt coverage ratio. The DCR, the debt coverage ratio. So basically what the bank is saying is we don't want these. And so if we give you a mortgage on one of these houses and you go away somewhere, the bank is now stuck holding on to these houses, and they're going to be servicing all of these expenses. But for a multifamily, they're saying, well, if you went, we would be left with the property, but we always have the income coming in. And so the main priority, the main focus that the bank has is on the property itself. They're going to qualify the property. They're not looking to qualify you as an individual. Now, of course, they're going to take you into consideration. But the very first thing that they look at is the debt coverage ratio. How much income is coming in through this building to pay all the expenses, service the debt, and is there cash flow left over? And so that is a game changer. That means that it's unlimited the amount of mortgages that you can get. You know, it's easier for my wife and I to get a mortgage of $100 million for an apartment building than it is for us to buy a single family house. Imagine we have over $100 million in debt. Our debt to income ratio is out of whack, right? So we go through a different process to buy a house. We go through it through net worth. But ultimately, not only is it easier to finance, but that one that one aspect is really what got me into multifamily in the first place. When I was in my early 20s, I couldn't qualify for the single family house. And I remember being so frustrated, and someone said, well, why don't you just level up and buy larger apartment buildings so you're not the one that has to qualify? I was like, you can do that? They're like, yeah. I was like, God damn. And it changed my life, right? I started right from the very beginning with multiple units, and I've always leveled up since then. Look at this. When it comes to economic downturns, depressions, recessions, multifamily has always outperformed any other asset class. And why is that? Well, it's because you always have the income coming in. You're never in a position where you have to sell. I want you to write this down. If you're taking notes, it's going to be an important one. If you're taking notes at home, everybody that's at home, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're taking notes, I want you to write this down. The worst time to sell a property is when you have to. The worst time to sell a property is when you have to. And so the key to having a long career in real estate is never buying real estate that you may have to sell. My exit strategy, you guys want to know my exit strategy for real estate? Write it down, write it down. Put Alfonso's exit strategy, death. I'm not selling anything. And even my kids are not selling anything. We're in it for the long run. And so every time we buy a piece of real estate, we have to ask ourselves, are we willing to hold this property for the rest of our lives? And if we can do that, then that's the type of real estate that you want to be participating in. And so the reason why you reduce the risk with larger apartment buildings is because you always have the income coming in. It doesn't matter what the market is doing, whether it's going up, down, or sideways. You always have the income coming in. So why multifamily? Well, you have more income coming in and you're paying a lower cost. So the single family house will be the most expensive piece of real estate that you'll ever buy. The more units that you have under one roof, the less you pay per unit. It's the Costco effect. You have lower vacancies. So if you have a single family house and that single family house becomes vacant, you are now 100% vacant. If someone moves out of one of my 16 unit apartment buildings, I still have 15 other units paying me rent. It's a non-event. We also have the forced depreciation. What I love about multifamily, unlike residential real estate, where residential real estate is about comps, right? So for houses, the way you evaluate is based on comps, comparables, right? Comparables. For multifamily, it's all about the income. because the way you evaluate a multifamily is the same way that you would evaluate a business. Because what you're actually doing is you're buying a small business, just the same way you would buy a restaurant down the street, if you bought the local dry cleaners. And so it's based on the income. So we take the gross income minus the expenses gives us your NOI. So your annual NOI. And how do you increase this NOI? By increasing income or reducing expenses. If you increase income and you reduce expenses, you improve the net operating income, which creates more value. Something like increasing the income of a property by $25 a month over 65 units gives you about $500,000 of new value that you've created. You can also reduce the expenses by $25 over 65 units. That also creates around $500,000 of new value. Then now you can go back and refinance and pull that money out. And so what happens with multifamily, because you're not selling it, you actually isolate yourself from market volatility. You have stability in the value while everybody else experiences market volatility. So for us, multifamily is number one. It's the number one asset class that we want to be invested in. And we're not investing for today. We're not investing for what's happening right now. We're investing for 2035, 2040. Back during COVID, it was scary. It was inconvenient to take action, but we were not investing for 2020. We were investing for 2025, 2030. Because one thing that is for sure, inflation is here to stay. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's what we're doing at those 3 days. If you are in Ottawa, fantastic, because you're going to have the opportunity to come and join us in person at the Sandman Signature, Ottawa Airport. If you're in the GTA area, I'll advise you to come in person to Mississauga. And you can also join us virtually online, August 7, 8, 9. And, this is if you're anywhere across the country, you can join us virtually. So this is our philosophy here. We believe in mindset, knowledge, and action. Do you have a fixed mindset or do you have a growth mindset? If you have a growth mindset, it means that you are able and willing to accept new ideas, new knowledge. A fixed mindset means that you're closed. It means that you know everything that there is to know. So if you know everything that there is to know, there's nothing left to teach you. And so we can't give you the knowledge until you open up your mind, and we have to allow your mind to expand a little bit. And then you have to take the action. We'll give you the knowledge, but ultimately you'll have to take the action. I want you to write this down. If you do nothing, nothing happens. Would you agree? If you do nothing, nothing happens, right? So you have to take action. This is Luis and his wife, Tony, both government workers right here in Ottawa. I don't know what it is, but every time I meet someone that works with the government, they're never happy. Okay. I don't know what it is, but when I came to Canada, my mom's dream for me was to work at the government one day. And, whenever I meet someone that works at the government, they're never happy. In fact, Luis told me that every Monday morning on the way to his job, he would get the worst feeling in his stomach, like he wanted to puke. And he was miserable at this job. And so they came to the boot camp. They learned the strategies. Now they're both completely retired from the government, and they're full-time investors. And they travel. They're free. They have all three freedoms: financial freedom, time freedom, and location freedom, which is all the three freedoms that we all strive for. And so this is possible for anybody. We're gonna at the 3 days, we are going to learn joint ventures. We're going to learn syndications, how to put together an investment for other people to invest in. One of the things that I want to teach you how to do is I want to teach you how to invest with using OPM. What is OPM?
Money.
Everyone say other people's money.
Other people's money.
I'm going to teach you OPC. What is OPC? Everyone say other people's credit. We're going to teach you how to invest with using OPT. What is OPT? Everyone say other people's time. We're going to teach you how to invest tapping into OES. Everyone say other people's systems. System is the key, right? So we're going to spend 3 days so you can learn the system, learn the model, learn everything that we're doing. We're going to transfer that to you because we want you to avoid like the plague. OPP. What is OPP? Everyone say other people's problems. Not Ontario Provincial Police. Now, some problems are opportunities. Some problems are opportunities. But we want you to understand and learn how to identify the opportunity within the problem. Most people just get a little bit of information. They go on ChatGPT. By the way, guys, ChatGPT makes a lot of mistakes. They go on YouTube University, Google. They ask all their friends. They get a little bit of information and then take action without guidance. And what happens is they end up buying other people's problems. Do people have a lot of problems lately? Oh, yeah. And so you have to learn how to identify the opportunity within a problem, right? And it's about fundamentals and formulas. And so we want you to avoid other people's problems because what happens is without a system, people use other people's money to buy other people's problems. And you know what happens? LOPM. What is LOPM?
Lose other people's money.
Losing other people's money. And so we take this very seriously. This is not a gimmick for us. We take it very seriously. And we're going to take the time to teach you how to work with other people, partnerships, general partnerships, limited partnerships, joint ventures, syndications, raising millions and millions of dollars. We're going to show you how to get started with multifamily, even though you've never bought multifamily in your life, or maybe you have experience, but it's time to level up. We're going to show you how to invest in the US, and we're going to show you the burst strategy with multifamily. We're going to show you how to underwrite apartment buildings, how the numbers work, how to position the investment for CMHC, how to use the MLI Select program. You guys know what the MLI Select program is? Yeah, well, it's a government incentive that allows you to put 5% down, 5% loan to cost. And there's a lot of updates, and we'll talk about that after Helene talks about property management. But we're going to show you how to buy brand new apartment buildings. We're going to show you how to negotiate hundreds and even millions of dollars off the purchase price and the asking price of real estate. Remember, when you buy real estate, it's all about the buy. You make your money on the buy. And so we're going to go through all of this stuff. And it's a 3-day intensive training, 9 to 5, all 3 days. This will transform your life. I went and took an intensive training like this. That's how I got my mini MBA. Has anybody ever heard of the mini MBA? You heard about it? Which one did you take?
I didn't take.
Or which one did you hear about?
I think I heard about it, but it was a while back, so I don't remember it.
Yeah, so the one
I think it was
that I took
McGill.
was McGill University. And basically, they take an entire MBA program and they condense it into like 4 days. And so you learn all the most important parts of an MBA, and it's intensive for 4 days, and it's really inexpensive. It's like $15,000, and you come out of there with this mini MBA. And so that's what this is. You know, this is an intensive training. We take the most important parts of real estate, and we give it to you in 3 days. But you have to be present. This is why I suggest that you come in person to any one of the 3 days. But having said that, you know, for $1,900, you're not scaring anybody. right? For a night, for 3-day intensive training like this, where you can come out, not only just learning how to invest in real estate, but actually learning how to apply it, and you'll be on your way to changing your life. $1,900 is a drop in the bucket, but we do have an early bird price, which is $387. I want you to write this down. Promo code Cuadra. 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 And because I'm doing this special event, and look at this, we got a lot of people here on YouTube. We got a lot of people here on Zoom. We got a lot of people here in person live. I don't know what's going. I don't know what's going on with Facebook.
Oh. My phone died.
The phone died. So those people are going to be wondering what's going on. Uh, we want to do something crazy, but I need you guys to give me the drum roll or something. Come on, come on, come on. All right, here we go. $87. $87. Guys, make some noise. $87. $87. That's wild. Would you agree?
Yeah.
It's less than dinner for two. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Depending on where you go. Actually, bring two. Two people for $87.
Whoa.
Make some noise. All right, so two people for $87. You can come to any one of these events. We have 3 boot camps, and that's the end of our season, by the way. Until the fall, that will be it. Those 3 boot camps are your last opportunity to really come and learn how to optimize and maximize the opportunities that are available. And so, what are we going to do? It's a 3-day intensive training. Okay, 3-day intensive training. And when I say intensive, we're talking about 9 to 5. We're going deep. It's a real estate investor accelerator. You're going to get my 20-step walkthrough checklist. You're going to get a personal strategy session along with a portfolio analysis. So we're actually bringing real estate professionals on site to work with you one-on-one. So they're going to be able to look at your situation, and you're going to leave there with a 90-day action plan. You're going to get a workbook. So 2 workbooks, plus you can bring a guest, $87. Okay. Does everybody here have the ability to come in person? Okay, good, good, good. You want to share these? Want to share these? Yeah. Grab one. Grab one. And for the people, I see there's some questions. We're going to come back and answer your questions towards the end. And everybody at home, you have an opportunity. I am going to share the virtual and Mississauga in just a moment. And you guys have here, you can use that QR code here. And here's the other 2. So we have the virtual, and maybe just test this. If this is, I want to make sure that these are the right ones. Maybe someone can you help me just test them. I also have copies here. Maybe put it closer over there in case anybody wants to see it. Yeah, I just want to make sure it goes to the right place. Okay, so just like Mission Impossible, where they talk about this message will self-destruct in the next 9 seconds. Well, it's not going to be 9 seconds. We actually give you 48 hours, but I would not suggest you take 48 hours because we only want 25 people at these events. We love intimate events, just like here in the boardroom, where you're going to have the opportunity to ask questions, and we'll go through all of your questions, and that's going to be very important. And so, so the second we get to 25, and I think there's like maybe about 5 spots left or something. But once we sell out, does it take you there?
No, it's not even.
Okay, let me see.
This one is scanning. It's going to every bride, but
Oh, hold on. We're gonna try this. Okay, hold on. We're gonna do.
okay, Paris is a document. So
We're just gonna try test it out. How do you bring your?
again,
Okay. So test it. Let me test it there for a second, guys.
I don't think it's
Like,
bigger.
there's
Yeah.
like, it doesn't show anything.
Really?
yeah.
Did
Can you
you
check the screen?
I don't know. Do you
It's
have
not
the right
work.
one? Oh, I tested the same one.
Let me see here.
Is the 87, is it Canadian or US?
It's all Canadian. We don't play those games.
There is tax on it.
The virtual, okay, no, it works, it works.
I'm getting to 98 plus,
Yeah. Yeah, there's taxes and Eventbrite fees. Yeah. And yeah, so they work. It works. It just here. I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit blurry or whatnot, but it should work. We'll leave it open for questions towards the end. So if for whatever reason one of them doesn't work, the reason I gave you the QR code, sorry, I gave you the Quadra code because you can always go to Wealth Genius .ai/events, and then you could you can actually purchase the tickets directly there. Okay, so we'll come back to this. I'll test it out in just a moment while Helena is speaking. 48 hours, 48 hours midnight. One last thing, and if you don't believe you got 10 times the value on the first day, on the Friday, you come and tell me, and I'll give you your money back. No questions asked. 100% money back guarantee. We want to make sure that everybody is satisfied and you're truly going to learn the things that are going to take you to the next level. So that's the QR code for Ottawa. 3-day intensive, 20-step walkthrough, personal strategy session. You're going to work with our people and you're going to get a free guest plus workbooks, $87. I know these ones I know work for sure. So I'm going to come back and talk about this a little bit more, but now we want to get into some property management. And let me just test this out here for a second, make sure that it works. Okay, good. This works as long as you point at it. I'll tell you this. We've been together for 13 years, and there's no way in hell that I would be here right now with the portfolio and the type of life that we have if it wasn't for this person right here. We are together 24/7. We work together. We spend all of our free time together along with our family. And so, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So please put your hands together for Helene Cuadra.
Thank you, honey.
Like, so look at these guys too.
Yeah, hey guys, hello everybody. How are you? How are you? Lots of screens, lots of people. This is a good night. So I'm here to share a little bit of something different actually, because unlike many of you, I had zero interest in real estate investing. I wanted nothing to do with this. The only thing that I thought might be interesting, I used to watch those flipping shows or the income properties, and they put, an income suite in the basement. And I thought, oh, that looks kind of fun. Maybe one day I'll dabble in that. But it just didn't seem like something I was interested in. It certainly didn't seem like something that aligned with my life, because I actually had a really awesome life. I lived here in Ottawa. I have 2 kids. They were teenagers and we were happy. I had my house, I had my job, I had a career I loved. I was very happy. I made good money. And my highest priority in life was holidays. I like to have fun and I like to go on holidays. And I could go on as many as I wanted because I had the freedom, I had the time, and I was doing what I loved. So I didn't think I needed a switch up of anything until one day I met this guy.
Hey!
So 13 years ago, I met Alfonso, and he matched my fun level. He was the kind of guy who was impromptu and said, "Let's go. We can go on a spontaneous trip." And he was there with me when I wanted to go. And that was, to me, what it was all about, because people like their freedom, people like their time. I had it. Now I had a partner to do all this with. I thought it was pretty good. And that was really all I needed. I could see what he was doing. He talked about real estate, talked about his properties. He drove me by some of them. And I thought, that seems cool. But it wasn't until about 2 years later when I actually ran out of holiday days. I actually found that I wanted a vacation and I couldn't go because I ran out of days. So I started saying, "Well, how are you doing this? How are you able to do all this?" And he said, "Well, I've got my properties. That's what I do." So he started teaching me and showing me different things about what possibly roles I could have within the business. And one of the things that we started doing was I started looking after some of the properties. I was helping him with his management of the properties, still having my own job, still running my own thing. And after a few months of this, I started to realize that, hey, wait a minute, dude. I'm actually now taking over and now I'm your property manager. So I'm managing these properties and we're doing this together. And it was at that point that I realized that maybe there was a place for me in this industry. There was something for me to do here and I could participate in the business, but not doing so much of the investing part of things. This still doesn't really interest me. It's very cool to run the numbers. I know how to analyze a deal, but it's not as interesting to me as once we have it, taking care of it and protecting it. Because you can find all the wonderful deals you want, but if they're not managed properly, they're useless. They're absolutely useless. You're going to lose money, and this is where real estate investing gets a really bad reputation, and this is where people can lose their shirts. Literally, they can lose everything because it is a high risk if it's not managed properly. All right. So today, what I'm going to share with you is some of the things that I have learned along the way, and some of the things that Alfonso has taught me, some things I've learned on my own, some things I learned in a course. I did take a property management foundations course. So it's helped me along the way, and I'm happy to share it here with you. So my idea of property management in the beginning of all this was just having really cool buildings and managing them and just running off to the vacation of the next destination and just, knowing that my properties were there. This is what in my mind I thought maybe it would be. But to be honest, guys, in reality, you get your tenants, they move in, you give them the keys, you sign the lease, you're happy. It doesn't actually end there. That's where it starts. That's the fun part, getting them in, getting the properties ready. And the reality is that everyone's happy until this. All right, some of these are actual pictures of things that happened in our buildings. This is an actual picture here of the kitchen of somebody, and that's not even a bad one. All right, we've had things that have happened that are absolutely horrible. Mold remediation and disaster relief had to come in and take care of our buildings and properties. And that's a part of property management. Not the fun part, but it is a part. But I'm here to say, though, this is not the biggest part. This is one part, but managed properly, these things can be less and less and less. When we first started, these kind of things happened a lot. At the moment, we manage just under 1,000 doors. I can count on one hand. I have 5 tenants right now that are difficult. 5 out of all of those. That means that 995 people are awesome. So the odds are pretty good. You don't have to be scared. Just need to know a few tricks. So what we're going to talk tonight is just a little bit about if you have a property, do you want to manage it yourself or do you want to hire a company? And if you do decide you want to manage it yourself, I'm going to share some tips. But if you want to hire it out, I'm going to share a few examples of things you want to look for in a really good property management company. So the first thing you want to look at is staff and your support team. So if you're doing it on your own, you might think, I have a few hours of time. I can absolutely manage my own properties. And you know what? You probably can. But property management doesn't end when you go on vacation. Property management doesn't end on Christmas Eve. Property management doesn't end on a Sunday when you've got a big barbecue and a family event. Property management is 24/7. 365 days a year. You most likely will get calls on holidays and you most likely will get emergencies at night. That's just the reality of it. Now, we have properties in Ottawa. We don't actually manage them ourselves. We have a team of people. So if I was managing something on my own, I would not have the time. I'm the staff. I would not have the staff or the support team to be able to support that and support a lifestyle that I want. So you might think, well, a small triplex or even just a little duplex down the road or an income suite in your basement might be something you could handle. But is it actually something you have enough time for? Because it can become very stressful and overwhelming if you're the one looking after all of the little details and you're the one who has to be responsible 24/7. So my suggestion in anything is if you don't have the time, there are lots of companies out there, lots of really reputable and good companies here in Ottawa. And you can certainly find a good property manager that aligns with what your goals are in your property, what you're looking for, and what you want out of that property. So my advice would be analyze that and make sure that you're not going to spread yourself too thin. The next thing I want you to think about is the systems for reporting. So when you have a property, even a small property requires a lot of paperwork. Making sure the tenant's paid, making sure they paid on time, making sure you have the rent increases done at the appropriate time, making sure notices for maintenance gets handled appropriately. If you have investors, you have to report to them. So you're going to need to send off reports to your investors. You're going to need to provide documentation for the finance companies, for insurance. All of those things need to be taken care of, documented, and looked after. For many of us, that myself included, are not as organized as I wish I was, you will have to make sure that your systems are in order. Having things in an email is not good enough. You need to have it in a file, somewhere in a shared drive, somewhere where you can access it, that you're able to provide it quickly. Every year, we have all of the finance companies, so all the banks or the lenders require a list of documents that you have to provide. We have a 60 unit building, and in that 60 unit building, I need to provide every single lease for them every single year. That's a lot of information. So imagine if you don't have it all together. I have to do that for every single property. You have to provide them proof of all your utilities, all of your bills, all of your capital expenses. All of that needs to be kept together, and all of that needs to be accessible and available so that when you need it, you can just share a file, you can upload a few documents, and you can do that without spending hours and hours and hours. So you might think a small property is easy to manage in this regard, but it's actually a lot of work, something to consider. It can be fun. We have people on our team who love doing this. They get a whole lot of joy out of getting these papers and getting everything organized. And I love them for that. That's what they like to do. You might be one of those people, and this might be something that works for you. So whatever system you're using, however you decide to use this, make sure that you understand what you're putting into this. And if you're getting a company to look after this for you, ask them if it's shareable. Is this something you're able to view? Are you able to access it? Are you able to see what it is that they're using? Are they using a OneDrive? Are they using Google Docs? Are they using a different property management platform that gives you access? But you want to make sure you have somewhere that your systems for reporting are easily accessible. The next thing you want to think about is your tenant selection process. So this has changed significantly. Of all the things that's changed in the 10 years that I've been doing property management, this is the one that has changed the most. The reason right now is because there's a lot of inventory. I know everyone says we're in a housing crisis, but at this moment, it is hard to find tenants. And this is across the country. This is not specific to any area. For whatever reason, people are staying where they are, so people are not moving. When you have vacancies, it's harder to fill. We've had some vacancies. Typically, we'd have a unit turned over if we lost a month's rent. That was a lot. Right now, we have some of our units where we've lost 2 or 3, and in a couple of cases, we've even had it empty for 4 months. That is almost unheard of in the last 8 or 10 years, but it is the reality right now. So
That's the opportunity, by the way.
exactly, because you have a chance right now to select excellent tenants, and you also know your tenants are staying with you. You can provide
And
incentives.
the landlords that don't know what they're doing is your opportunity to buy real estate from them.
That's
Because
exactly.
they're hurting.
We had a look at a property the other day, and 4 of the units, 4 out of 5 were vacant. So this is a really amazing opportunity for you. If you're an investor going in, this is great. If you're managing a property, you know what? It's also good to have a fresh start. It's good to be able to go back and sometimes reset. Maybe you have a couple tenants that created a bit of a unsavory sort of demographic in your building. When they move, now you have a chance to be selective and choose someone that comes in that you want to stay, because tenants are staying. All right, so you have a chance for that. This is where you have to get creative. You start putting in, doing certain things like incentives, offering free laundry, offering an extra parking space, giving free storage, maybe a half month or a month's rent. In some cases, I've seen advertising for 2 or 3 months of free rent. So those are things you may have to consider. We did offer a few incentives for some of our tenants. Staging. You might have to stage your units and actually get professional photos and stage your building so when people come in, it looks nice. You need to treat it like an open house now. You need to go in there and you need to have a beautiful, handout for them to select. I think there's someone at the door. You need to have a beautiful handout for people so that they can remember what your property is, and you need to follow, and actually you need to follow up with the people as potential tenants. It used to be where they were just sending you the application. Now we get tenants that come, or potential tenants that come in and they say, oh, I'm interested in this, I like this, I'll get back to you. And now we're actually needing to become salespeople, where we're actually having to pursue some of the people that we may want, and pursue some of the people who would say, I'm interested in this, and actually follow up and say, oh, I'd love to hear from you. Please send your application and follow up with somebody that you feel is good. Now, on the other side, if you're not managing your property and you've hired a company to do this, they are also experiencing a difficult time in filling units. So if you're hiring someone else, my only word of caution would be, what is their fee? How are they getting paid? Because if they're getting paid upon fulfillment of a rented unit or a signed lease, they may not have the same care and concern as you would want. So you need to make sure that you say you have some control over the vetting of the tenants. So for example, if you have a tenant or a property manager that's filling a unit for you, you might say, I need to see all of the criteria, the credit report, the work history, their previous rental history. You might want to see all of those things before you approve that lease yourself. You may also have a clause in it, and we've had actually come across this in a few cases where people have come to me and said, is this normal? So a property management company came to me one time and said, the owners have put in a clause that if the tenant fails to pay, the property manager is responsible. So because if you put in a tenant that's not a good tenant, I mean, it happens sometimes, even to the best of us, but as an owner, you want to make sure that your building is being filled correctly, because it is harder to get rid of tenants in some provinces. In Ontario, it's a little more difficult. Out west, it can be easier to exit a tenant at the end of their lease, or on any infractions, but just something to consider as you're filling units. And just know that this is a really good opportunity if you're an investor, because you can get in and get those really well. All right, maintenance requests. So we talked a little bit about systems for reporting, and I did touch briefly on what sort of things in my purse. There's a pen. Alfonso. So there is a system for reporting maintenance requests. Now we use a system called Tenant Cloud. We're not promoters of it, but I actually really like this system. It's a platform that the property management companies, tenants, as well as oh, thank you, Mary Jennifer. She's got a pen. So it's a system where tenants, housing providers, and trades or subcontractors can all be part of. Okay, so for us, we love it because our tenants can go right onto the platform and request something for maintenance concerns. For example, today I got one. I got a tenant who phoned me today. He said, Helene, I just broke the door. We have a glass door at one of our buildings. He said, I came in with a heavy box, I set it down, and the whole window just shattered as I hit it. So the whole side of the door just broke. And I said, okay, go in Tenant Cloud and send that message to me. So he took pictures. It's connected with him. I sent it that same request over to our property manager and our maintenance team that's over there. And then from there, we actually submitted that same request to the trade that's there, the window supplier. So in that span of 10 minutes, I was able to get everybody connected to the same platform to see what was happening. We have pictures, we have action that was taken, and we have the contact name and information. Now, that might seem like a very complicated thing to set everybody up and have everyone look after this. But to be honest, if you've not done this, you open yourself up for potential disaster. There could be lawsuits. There can be, difficult if you're trying to prove that you've done something, negligence, or prove that you've not been negligent. This way, it shows. Look, he called me, and we had this down there within 10 minutes. I had this connected to the glass guy. So those are just some examples of maintenance requests and the importance of it. When you're doing maintenance in any building, there's going to be your standard weekly, well, daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually. There's going to be systems, and there's going to be things that need to be done on a regular basis. So having a good setup, having a good system that gives you reminders will remind you to check those furnace filters, or remind you to turn off the water in the fall, turn it back on appropriately timed in the summer, and making sure that everything follows as it does. You can save money on repairs. You can watch and track if there seems to be sort of something, a continual problem with something. If you're noticing that you're getting a lot of leaks in an area, if you're noticing you're getting a lot, maybe you have to check the roof, maybe you have to check something. But if you get a system that you can actually put a report together and say, where were these things? What happened with these things? And then you're able to see, it can actually save you money and time. So just a little thought, a little word of advice that you can actually use and implement if you're managing your own properties. Most property management companies will keep a very good logbook or a very good tracking system. So if you're doing it on your own, you're going to want a little help. And I suggest something, Tenant Cloud or something like that. Now, hiring a property manager is going to require a contract. If you're managing it on your own, you may say, well, you know what? I can cut costs. I can do this by myself. But your time is worth something. And if you feel your time is valued by going and cleaning the garbage or going and plunging a toilet, then that's fine. But I'd be willing to bet that there's no one on any calls or no one in any of these rooms that couldn't be doing something better or more valuable for your company. If you're the boss and you're looking after things, your job is meant to be that person. All right. So doing the tasks that somebody else could do for less money is definitely worth it in your business. You want to treat your property management company as a business, even if you're only managing one or two properties or a small building or something that's your own. It's still a profession, and it still should be looked at and treated with that same respect. And you deserve to get paid for it. You may decide that you don't need the money at the moment. And we did this with a lot of our properties in the beginning. We didn't pay ourselves because we had income from other places. So it didn't matter to us, right? It wasn't important. Now we have a company. So we do take that money and we pay our staff, we pay our team. Alfonso and I still don't get paid by property management, but we have that available to us for our team because we're doing other things. So keep that in mind if you're doing this on your own, that your time is worth something. Now, if you're hiring a property management company, you're going to want to take a fine look at that contract. If they give you a contract that's a half a page long, that is not long enough. Your contract should be at least a couple of pages, and there should be specific things that are listed on there. And some of those things will include the cost, obviously. And some property management companies will say we have a flat fee, 5%, 7%, 10%. Some will say we'll do it for less, but look and see what that actually includes. I'm going to give you a little example of a company that we first hired. We bought a property in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. That was my hometown, and we bought this property. And the property management company said, "It's no problem. We're not expensive. We only charge 4%." Wow, this is great. 4%. That seems incredibly low. Well, then we get our first bill, and we're looking at this, and why is this thousands of dollars? It's a 12-unit building. And we ended up realizing that all these little plus, if they took a phone call in the evening, it was an added charge. If they came to change a light bulb, it was an added charge. If they were doing an application for someone, it was $300. And I'm thinking, this is ridiculous.
For their computer.
Yes, they bought a computer and charged us.
I'm sorry, if a company is supposed to buy your computer.
So you want to watch and see that sort of, so somebody that seemingly would be inexpensive could end up costing you a lot more. It's okay to pay those extra things. Their time is worth something, but make sure that you understand and you're actually calculating the cost versus the price. On the flip side to that, we found an amazing company. We live here. 12 units is a little bit too small to try to manage when you're far away. I can't do that. I can't do decent justice to having it, even though we have a team. So I subcontracted a property management company, and I found this lady who has a company there, and she charges 10%. And I said, okay, and what are your other pluses? Like, what are your other fees? She says, no, it's 10%. 10% of the rent's collected. And I said, and she said, no, this is what it includes. So she sent me a contract. Her contract is 5 pages long. She will do the snow, she will do the grass, she will do the cleaning, she does the unit filling, she does the leases, and she charges me 10% every single month. If there's a unit that's not filled, she does not charge me that extra money. She is 10% and that's it. So the cost, the value was significantly different between my 4% and my 10%. And I'm happy to keep her and we'll keep her forever. All right. So those are just a little bit of the things you want to do. But my biggest takeaway on that is don't sell yourself short. Make sure that you include a fee for you if you decide to self manage. Okay. Professional trades. So just like a property management company is a profession, so are the trades. Plumbers, electricians, HVAC people. I had a glass guy show up for me today. He was available to me within 10 minutes. He'd already reached out and connected and made a time where he's going to come in and fix the repair of my broken window today. Those are people, they're in the trades that work hard and they have a service that we need. So it's best to, get some good relationships going. Go to some of the community mixers that there are within the industry. You want to go and meet some of the tradespeople. You want to go meet people at those breakfasts in the morning. They have those mixers and those breakfasts and things. You want to go and connect with people that you'll be able to know and have in your Rolodex, where you'll be able to look for them and find them when you need them. And my suggestion is pay them quickly. All right. They're going to be expensive. There are times when you look at it and you go, oh, that's a lot. You can question, you can ask, but they are professionals. And in the end, they're actually going to protect your building and your asset. So maybe it is a little more expensive than you would like it to be, but with a justified quote and a justified reason, you want to make sure to pay them quickly and be responsive to them and be thankful for the work that they do because they're good. There is on the other side, some of us like to be kind of handy, myself included. I like to get in there and do some fix ups and some things. I'm not always the best. I definitely would never touch electrical. I would never touch plumbing. I'm never going to touch an HVAC system. I'm never going to touch things that are going to create a problem if I do it wrong. If you do something wrong and somebody's not licensed, you might save yourself a few bucks. But if you've done something wrong in your electrical and your panel bursts and you have a fire, or there's a short circuit and you have a fire, you're responsible. Your insurance will not cover you doing handyman jobs or somebody who's not licensed. So skipping out on a permit or not getting the proper documentation or the proper permit or paperwork involved is not the way to go or cut corners. Next of all, knowledge. If you are looking after something, make sure you know what you're doing. All right. Everyone learns on the job in this industry. You don't know everything. There's always things you don't know. However, there are things that you may not know and you may not even be aware of if you're not in this business. So, for example, I know a lot about Ontario and I know a lot about Saskatchewan. Those are my two areas of focus. We have properties in Quebec. We have properties in Alberta. We have properties in the States. We have properties in the Maritimes. I know nothing about those properties. That doesn't mean I couldn't learn it, but if somebody asks for my advice about something specific to those places, I'm not going to know. All right. So don't pretend that you know because you know something in another area. All right. You could be very smart in one area, but trust the experts of the local area, trust the experts in the industry. Join associations I'm part of the Saskatchewan Property Management Association. I'm part of different associations here in Ontario. So get to know the community so that you can ask the questions. If you have an interest in another province, learn about it. Learn about what the rules are. Learn about how to manage the properties and the differences between them, because you want to be as educated as you can. Nowadays, tenants have access to everything. All right. ChatGPT, if you go on and you look up something, even a simple Google search, all of the information is out there, and most of it is accurate when it comes to the landlord tenant board rules. All right, so in any province, if you Google what is an N9, what is an N11, it's going to come back word for word exactly what it is. So a tenant knows. So you can't go around BSing your way if you don't know. So make sure that you do, so that you're credible and a reliable source. And finally, make sure you have the time commitment. Like I said in the beginning, if you don't have the staff and support team, even just looking after a property that takes you several hours a day or a week or a month could be overwhelming. And that's not what you want, because your business is your portfolio. Your business is investing. And if you're spending all of your time doing this and you're excluding the other parts of your business or other parts of your life, this can be a hindrance, not only to your business, but just to your lifestyle, because you want more time, not less time. You don't want to buy yourself another job. So that's really important. So definitely my advice to you is, don't be scared if you decide you want to manage your own properties. But if you do hire a property manager, understand that there's a lot of good ones, and they can definitely help you with your project, with your asset, and help it grow and make it really much, much better. So that is pretty much all that I have for you tonight, my friends. Alfonso will come back. I think we're frozen here.
Okay.
And I will give it back to you.
Okay, big round of applause. All right, guys. So first things first, the one of the things that is the hardest for people with smaller properties is that there's not enough income coming in to justify a property manager. And so what ends up happening is that they end up doing all the work themselves. And so if you find yourself doing the work, it's probably because the property can't afford it. I want you to write this down. For multifamily, the ones that we're going to teach you about come with a caretaker on site and a property manager. So that means that gives you time. That caretaker on site and property manager, that means that you have a team. You have a team that is managing that property. That means that you are not the one that is subject to, going to doing all the renovations or whatnot, or flushing or unclogging a toilet. Like, we're not plumbers here. Even if you were a plumber, I don't think you'd want to be doing it for free. You would say, "Well, that's my property. What do you mean I'm doing it for free?" Well, how much do you value your time, and what would you pay yourself, right? Even though I know plumbers make good money, but still, I would say hire the professionals, and then you focus on the business, not in the business. All right, so we'll keep things going here. Um, I want to kind of go through some of the things that we're going to talk about when you come back for those 3 days. First things first, we're going to show you how to scale the business. Okay, we're going to show you how to get started with your very first investment, having to put together maybe capital. Maybe you're borrowing all the capital, or maybe you are working with other partners, or you're doing a syndication. um, Within I would say 6 months, we could probably get you into your first deal, if this is what you wanted, right? um, Learning how to go from your first deal, if you choose, scaling the business to multiple units. Now, one of the things that you're going to do, you're probably going to want to get started in value add. That's kind of where you're going to want to start doing value add, finding older properties, maybe underperforming properties. Oh, was there a recording? Maybe not. Um, Underperforming properties, and maybe that's going to be your path. Maybe your path is going to be, um, you know, finding underperforming property, creating a lift, increasing the income or expenses. We're not having increasing the income or the expenses and creating a lift. And what I love about the value add strategy, when you create this lift, the property is worth more, but because you're dealing with bigger properties, we're talking about $500,000 more, $700,000 more, $1 million more. And how do you tap into those gains? Well, you can refinance, pull the equity out, and because this is a loan, this is non-taxable. So you can create a business for yourself where you're pulling out about $1 million a year tax free. And so money's not everything, but $1 million a year will change how you live your life. It will change many things. It's not money's not everything, but money solves a lot of problems. Would you agree? Absolutely. And so for us, our path went to brand new apartment buildings. And so we're going to show you not only how to buy older apartment buildings, value add type of deals, but we're going to transition into brand new apartment buildings. This was kind of our path where we started buying brand new apartment buildings directly from the builders. And at the same time, we transitioned into building our own apartment buildings. We transitioned into land development. And this is a lot of what we're going to cover in those 3 days. We're going to show you the value add, the existing properties, how to buy brand new properties directly from the builders, how to work with the builders, how to partner with builders. And there's a chair there. Yeah, okay, because you kind of look uncomfortable there in the corner. One thing that I love about land development is that you have the opportunity to profit every stage of the land development. Every phase that lot becomes more and more valuable. One of the biggest appreciations that you'll see is during the upzone stage. So you can uh, upzone a property and it instantly becomes more valuable and you can sell it to other investors. So whether it's the upzone, entitlement, site plan approval, construction permits, the build out, or you simply complete it, you sell it, or you hold it. So a big part of those 3 days is that we're going to go into how to use the MLI Select program to build larger apartment buildings with no money out of your pockets. And we have a case study of a property that we built close by, even with the changing rules. So MLI Select is changing a little bit, and it's definitely a government incentive. It's a government incentive to stimulate building, and it did just that. And so now they're pulling back. They're changing a few things. But when you come to those 3 days, I'm going to show you how to navigate through that stuff. All right. This is my good friend Mullen. Mullen came to that boot camp, joined World Genius, loved the MLI Select program. This is us. He's 28 years old, and he's already completed this 59 unit apartment building that he used the MLI Select program. Now he is building a 24 unit, he's building a 44 unit. He is a full time investor. We had these two young people, Oliver and Gabriel, came to the boot camp in Montreal, sat in that boot camp. They arrived on the bus rubbing two nickels together, working at Subway, 18 and 19 years old. If you want to know what keeps me doing this, why am I here? Why am I always doing all these events? Look at this text that I got from Oliver and Gabriel, 18 and 19 years old. They came to the boot camp, and when they first came, um, especially Oliver, he thought he would never, ever in his life be able to own real estate because he felt that he was completely priced out of the market. They came, they learned, and this is the text that I got. Sir, you've officially changed our lives. Behind us is a 12-unit apartment building that we bought in Montreal yesterday. The reason I share these case studies with you guys is to impact your belief and inspire you to take action. This is Roger Bannister. Roger Bannister ran the 4 minute mile. So before 1954, no one in history was ever able to run a mile under 4 minutes. This guy Roger Bannister came and broke the record. And shortly after, other people started doing it. In fact, months after, dozens of people were doing it. Since then, hundreds of thousands of people have done it. So what was the difference before 1954 where no one could do it? And then all of a sudden, after 1954, anybody could do it. What was the difference?
Belief.
Belief.
Believe in
And
it.
yeah. So I shared these stories with you because I want you to see that regular average people with not much resources can do it. And if they can do it, why can't you do it? Right? If I can do it, why can't you do it? I shared my story with you guys. I started my first company in 1995. But before that, I look young. I do look pretty young. My first company back in 1995 was a clothing company. And that clothing company went to many locations across Canada. But how did I get there? I was in war-torn El Salvador. I landed in Canada as a refugee, a landing refugee. I lived in social housing. I grew up on welfare around negative people. I ended up living on the streets when I was 15 years old and I dropped out of high school. And ultimately, I was lost. And so, if someone like me, coming from all those circumstances, I think anybody has the ability to build significant wealth for themselves. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, for me, I had a life-changing event when I was 17 years old. You guys have met my daughter here. She doesn't like when I say this, but she's turning 31 this year. And she's like, "No, I'm 30. I'm 30." I'm like, "You're in September. You're 31. You're pretty much almost there."
Can I not
And so
just have the rest of 3 months?
when I say you're 31, people are like, they look at me, they start doing the math in their head. Well, what happened is I was 17. So I became a dad at 17 years old. This girl right here changed the entire trajectory of my life. Before this moment, I was blaming the world for everything in my life. I had all kinds of excuses on why I couldn't do something. And so when she was born, no more excuses, no choice. I stopped blaming the world for my problems and I started to take responsibility over my own life. And so what I learned was that anybody can achieve anything. You can come from the lowest of the low. Before that, I was living on the streets, destitute, in a very dark place. And still, I went from a very dark place to extreme success. But you know what you can't do? You can't go from excuses to success. It's impossible. And so this is what we talk about, having some level of inspiration, being having a why, having a purpose that is powerful enough will make you unstoppable. You won't even think about any excuse if you have to do something. And so you just need the right vehicle. And there's so many things that you can do out there. How do you choose? Well, you have to choose things that you understand. And one thing I know, people will always have to live somewhere. I can't guarantee if people are always going to use Bitcoin. I don't know if people are always going to go into an office building. All these things are question marks. But one thing that's for sure is that people will always have to live somewhere. And so this is why not only is multifamily the least riskiest type of asset class to get into, but if you do it the right way, like like we're describing, you can actually create a lifestyle for yourself. You can create freedom for yourself. We're not talking about replacing your existing job. We're talking about creating a situation where now you have all of your time back. And that's what I'm passionate about. So, these events, 3 events coming up, whether you're going to join us in Ottawa, July 10th to 12th, maybe you're going to have to come virtually, or you're going to join us in Mississauga. Here are the QR codes. If for whatever reason these QR codes don't work, the code that you're going to use is Cuadra, which is my last name. Okay, CUADRA is the promo code Cuadra. What does it stand for? Do you know?
I'm going to speak Spanish.
I don't want to remember.
Cuadra means in Spanish city block.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what quadra means. And now we own city blocks.
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting?
That's
It was meant to be.
totally.
It was meant to be. And so I'm going to encourage you guys to use this. We're going to go through joint ventures. On the last day, we're going to talk about property management. So we're going to show you how to either hire a property manager, how to manage your own properties. We're going to go through corporate structures on the Sunday, how to put your investments in a corporation to protect your assets. Tax strategies. Now, I'm not a tax accountant. I'm not trying to advise you in any way on, and all the information that we've shared here this evening has been for educational purposes. But we're going to show you what we're doing. We're going to open up the books. We're going to show you how we position our passive companies and our active companies, how we are reducing our taxable income. And all you got to do is just do what we're doing, right? We're not tax strategists, but we are going to share what we're doing with you guys. Property management, how to create partnerships, joint ventures, how to get started with multifamily, or how to grow your existing portfolio, how to build your own properties, how to use the MLI Select program to build apartment buildings, how to invest in the U.S. What are the type of markets? Do you need to be a citizen of the US? How do you get funding in the US? Well, we're going to show you how everything works, how to raise capital, how to syndicate, how to do the burst strategy, and with apartment buildings, how to underwrite a deal, how to identify the right investment, how to buy brand new apartment buildings you were using a forward purchase agreement, how to raise money to do your deals, how to do bigger deals, how to level up and create ultimate freedom. Now, we did describe that the investment of $1,900 was not a big deal, but we do have a special for everybody here that's attending this and everybody that's on YouTube. By the way, thank you everybody that hung around here on Zoom, and everybody on YouTube, and the people that check back in on Facebook. $87. That's good. Make some noise. Make some noise. And that's for two people. That's for two people. So $87. You get a 3-day intensive training. You get a 20-step walkthrough checklist. We're gonna bring professional real estate investors on site, whether it's virtual or right here in Ottawa or Mississauga. They're gonna work with you. They're gonna work on your specific situation, and you're gonna leave there with a 90-day action plan. We're gonna give you 2 workbooks, and you can bring a guest. All for $87, 3 events, virtual, Ottawa, or Mississauga. And so, having said that, my good friends, I'm gonna leave this up here. I'm actually gonna leave the 3, and then I'm gonna open it up for questions. Did you guys have a good time? Make some noise! Woo! If you've joined us and you're like, this is a bit of a weird format, basically what we're doing is this is actually one of our first hybrid events, like super hybrid, ultimate hybrid. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Zoom, and in person here. Did you enjoy yourself? What was one takeaway?
There's so many, so I don't know where to start. So I like how she talks more about property management because I personally don't think I could handle.
You don't want to manage the properties.
I feel like some part would be manageable, but the other I'm like, it's not for me. So just to keep the tenants in peace, I feel like hiring somebody else.
Yes.
Like,
You want to do.
no one to lose everybody at once.
Yes.
But
I have a case study if ever you need it. The other side.
But I have a question, but we should go through.
Yeah, if you have a question, raise your hand. And I also opened up the chat. If you have a question on the Zoom, feel free to ask it on the Zoom of anything that we've described or talked about here today. Time is the most valuable asset that we have. And for us, there's nothing more valuable than spending the time here with you guys, helping you. We're all here. This is a family business here. My daughter's here, my wife is here. You know, we do this as a family. She works for the company. And you know, we just want to help people. We want to help people get to the next level. Yes, you have a question.
Yeah, so I think one of your slides, the one for the 3 days intensive class, you had the last part raising, you say raising capital, and then BRRR. What does that?
Okay, this is your bird, your basic bird. So for the people at home, if you're watching this, someone's asking us, what is BRRR? She's like, it's not winter time, it's not bird, right? So the first B is buy. Okay. Now the B is the most important part of the equation because I want you to write this down. You make your money on the buy. Okay. The second R stands for reno. Okay, renovations. Now, what we're going to teach you at the boot camp is what are the right renovations. You need the type of renovation that are going to allow you to increase the income of the property, right? So just any renovations is not going to help you. You need the right renovations that are going to allow you to increase the income. The next R is rent. And what you want is you want to be able to now rent it for more because in apartment buildings, if you impact the income, you impact the value of the asset. So you want to be able to rent it for more, so then you increase the value of the property. And so the next one is the refinance. This is the mechanism that you're going to use once you create the value in the property. You're going to go back and refinance and pull the your gains out without having to pay taxes. And so the beautiful thing about multifamily is that your tenants are paying down your loan. And so what happens is you're going to create this equity buildup. You build up the equity in your asset where you can go back and refinance, pull the money back out, and the money that you pull out is tax free. Now, the beauty about multifamily is that this is happening at scale, which means that you're pulling out large amounts, 500,000, 600,000, $1 million, $2 million. And if you set this up the right way, where you have one property refining every single year, you can actually create a business where you're pulling out $1 million a year from your properties. And so that's how to do that. We're going to talk about it in those 3 days. But the last R is repeat. Repeat. Keep doing it over and over and over. That's kind of how we started our business. Um, I've refinanced and used the same money to grow the portfolio. The portfolio that we have, we started with nothing. You know, I didn't have money when I started, and we grew the portfolio to where it is now. And so, if we can do this, anybody here can do this, and including everybody at home. So, having said that, we're gonna say goodbye
I have a
to.
question.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
So I'm just kind of curious about the refi that you mentioned. It's because when you pull money out from the property, obviously there's going to be like the second mortgage, I believe.
So your mortgage increases.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the mortgage increases. So I would imagine that during that period too, the rents has to be accounted for. Otherwise,
The key is increasing the income of the property,
Mhm.
right? So you increase the income, it increases the cash flow.
Yes.
Cash flow is taxable.
Right.
So what you're actually doing is you increase the cash flow so you can exchange it for debt service. So
Right.
now you have more money that you can service more debt. If you pull out the money and the property is negative performing, you're doing it wrong. So when you come for those 3 days, we're going to show you the formula and how it works.
Yeah, but I just wanted to like confirm because it's like even after putting the money out, the
Mhm.
rent has to be increased. Otherwise,
You
doesn't the rent have to be
you have to do it the other way. Increase the income first,
right?
and then you refi.
Yes, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah,
But then both of them have to
Yeah,
have.
you don't want to refi and then hope you can get the
Yes.
rent. You know what I mean? You do it the other way. And for multifamily, the only way they're going to be able to give you a higher appraisal
Mhm.
is if you increase the rents
Yeah.
and reduce the expenses.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that rents like for properties, is it usually increased every year? I know you can, but you guys like see cases where you're like
We increase it every year. Yes.
Oh, you increase it every year. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. But the value add strategy is that you go out and look for underperforming properties. One of the benefits that we have where we are right now with all of these baby boomers retiring, these mom and pop operations, there's some buildings they never increase the rents for a very long time because they don't want to be bothered, right? And so you can find an underperforming property and then create a lift right away and go back and refinance that money within a year and a half.
Well, do you think part of the reason people like landlords don't increase rents is because they're afraid that they will lose tenants?
For sure, because they're not professional investors, right? So they don't want the hassle, right? But remember, you have to be willing to do the things today that other people are not willing to do, so you can live the kind of life that other people wish they had tomorrow. And so things that are inconvenient, people don't tend to do. But if you can just go in there with a vision, and maybe there's a little bit of inconvenience for you at first, but then you have the opportunity to gain so much more later on. So there's people that own their properties for years, mom and pop operations, right? So all the baby boomers are exiting right now. Their properties are paid off. They have no mortgages, so they can just keep those tenants and keep the rents low, and they're happy, right? Now the family gets a hold of these properties. They're not real estate investors. There was no education for the past 60 years. So what people are doing is liquidating. Every morning I wake up and my inbox is filled with deals of all of these portfolios from families where the families are just liquidating the assets 50 cents on the dollar. And it's happening more and more every day.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, are you saying then that means you're also like a rental, or you're able to lease, sell, you have a list of those properties, right?
Yeah. So what I'm gonna no, we're investors. So I'm gonna repeat the question for the people at home. You're suggesting that maybe I become a realtor or something,
Not really.
or you're asking me if I am a realtor.
If you have a list of properties for sale.
Yeah. So basically, when you come for those 3 days, I'm going to teach you how to build a deal flow management system. So you don't have to be a realtor to have all of the realtors working for you. And so that's what you want. You want all of the realtors working on your behalf, sending you deals. So what happens is you have off-market deals, pocket deals, and so for pocket listings. So what happens when a family is selling like portfolios, it usually goes to off-market first because they want to sell it quickly. And so when you go to realtor.ca, you're looking at properties that are retail. So you don't need a realtor's license. You just have to learn how to engage realtors and work with realtors to have them send you deals. So you need a buy box, everything that we're going to teach you. Good question. Very good question. All right, my friends. So I don't see any questions from the people at home. I want to thank everybody on Zoom. I want to thank everybody here on YouTube. Actually, let me grab this here. We got a lot of people here. Thank you, guys. Watch these guys. Make some noise. That was the boardroom. And we're going to say